YouTube right now. Oh, of course. All right, hang on 1 second. Gotta mute. Dang, Roomba went off right when I went live. So good news for me. I've got most of my stuff built already. I have one lineup, and you see it on the screen, that I'm currently fiddling with and waiting for an injury update to decide on. But otherwise, I've got like 50 in Fanduel's tournament, and then I got a ton of entries in there. One of those weeks that my player pool's so tight that if I made any iteration, I just wanted to play it and make it work. So to give you all an idea, for the most part, DK running back wise, I'm looking at Jeremiah Love, Hollywood Smothers, Adam Randall, Keywan Lacey, TJ Harden, and a little sprinkling of Demon June for UNC. And then I'm waiting on Sutton Smith news. So the line, that's kind of my running backs. That's it. Across, I've probably got 40 teams. And that's just those running backs. Wide receiver wise, lots of Harrison Wallace, Jordan Dwyer, a little bit of Omega Blake, a lot of Cooper Barkate, a good bit of Romello Brinson, a little bit of Shalik Knots, a small sprinkling of Omari Hayes, a good bit of Manjack, and then a good bit of Jaron Kanak, and then small sprinkles of Eric McAllister, Hunter Andrews, and Cortez Bram. So basically, in this team, I have a small debate on Knots versus Kanak. I already have a Mateer Kanak stack in the big tournament here. The debate I'm having with myself right now is, do I go Jeremiah Love, Cortez Bram as the final two pieces, or do I go Jordan Dwyer and Sutton Smith? If I get word DeRozier's is out, I'm probably going to lean towards the Sutton Smith side, thinking that he's going to be a little bit less owned as a good bring back for the Taylor Green play. And then that gives me a piece of that TCU team, which I really like. I have a lot of TCU this week, and we'll see. So on DK here, TJ Harden kind of got lock buttoned for me. I just threw him in every team. Harrison Wallace is in probably 90% of the teams. And then Adam Randall is probably in 75% of the teams. I went real heavy on certain guys. So any issues for those guys is really going to kill me. With the FanDuel stuff, McAllister was a lock button. Randall's pretty heavily owned for me, but realistically, that player pool ended up narrowing down even further. It's pretty much Jeremiah Love at running back, Bryson Washington, Adam Randall, Keywan Lacey, a little bit of TJ Harden, a small amount of Sutton Smith, a good amount of Ahmad Hardy, really liking his upside in that Missouri game. I think Missouri just dominates the line of scrimmage in that one. And what better way to take Dylan Stewart out of a game than run right at him with physicality? And Ahmad Hardy, I think, is a very underrated play in that game. Demon June, and then a little bit of Hemby as well. I actually like Roman Hemby tonight, given the concentration in their backfield. But yeah, I would say, shoot, I probably have 20% of those lineups have of those teams on FanDuel have Jordan Tyson, Cooper Barkate, and Eric McAllister as the 3 wide receivers, just leaning fully into it, and then just mix and match quarterbacks across the way. So we'll wait on the Greg DeRozier's. Once I find out about that, I'm waiting to get some information on that, but it'll pop here before this game starts. But that's kind of where I'm at on that game. If I get that information, then that's going to end up being Jordan Dwyer Sutton in this lineup. And if I don't, it's going to be Cortez Bram and Jeremiah Love, leaning into the fact that I think Bram has a decent game if Brendan Lewis has to chuck the ball around the yard. All right, so let's look at the late slate, because I've actually started looking at that. If you guys have questions or need anything for like the afternoon slate, like I said, I'm pretty heavily invested in Arkansas and Memphis, mainly through Taylor Green, Omega Blake, and Sutton Smith or Cortez Bram. Very heavily invested in SMU TCU. I know I do have a team with both quarterbacks from that game, Harden, Brinson, and 2 TCU wide receivers. I've got a full game stack on that one. I've got a pretty heavy amount of Mensa, CJ Bailey, and Smothers with 2 Duke wide receivers. I like Quayshawn Brown and Cooper Barkate. I just prefer Barkate, but I do have some Quayshawn Brown. I think he'll be the second best or the best wide receiver for them. I know Andrew Anthony and Samir Hagans are there as well, but they didn't produce as much as consistently as the other 2. So I'm more in on those guys. I don't hate the Tulane going Jake Retzlaff because of his rushing capability. And if they get blown out, you can play him solo. I don't think it hurts to play him with Omari Hayes as well, though, at 3,200. Like, Hayes isn't cost prohibitive. His price is great, and he's going to get 7 catches in this game probably, because they're going to be playing from behind. I'd avoid the run game for Tulane completely. I do think they probably cover that spread. That's the way I feel about it. But yeah, I would say you could play Retzlaff if you want. It's one of those things where for me, I leaned into Mensa because of the pass upside. There is a world where NC State kind of just drops deep and then plays under, makes everything go underneath. But I think Duke with Mensa can just dink and dunk all the way down the field. But I do agree. I feel like Retzlaff is probably a blind spot for me that I shouldn't be. So let's look at this. I've been looking through this one, trying to figure it out. I've also been trying to debate how I'm gonna manage to get my butt in the gym during the middle of the afternoon. I usually go about 2:30, but there's too many good games today. This might be like a 14 hours on the couch type day. So initial look on this, I don't love this price tag on DeMond Williams. I don't think he's going to need a run in this Apple Cup game. Granted, Washington State always plays Washington tough. So, but that even then, if that's the case, and this is a close game, Williams isn't going to have monster numbers. I don't think Washington State can keep up. I think Washington State's terrible. Very similar to Oregon State. So I don't love this price tag on DeMond Williams. I've played a lot of him so far this year, but I don't think I get there. Not for that price. Sawyer probably priced up a little more than I would like in this matchup. I mean, I think he's in the pool, certainly, but it's a little more pricey than I would like. Even Levitt is priced up a little more. I would rather go to Robertson than Levitt in this situation. Levitt's been running a ton, but I just kind of get the feeling that if Levitt's going to throw the ball well, it's all going to go through Jordan Tyson anyway. So I'm better off just paying for Tyson than I would be to pay for Levitt. Like Levitt's what, 900 more, and he projects for the same amount of points. So why play Levitt? If the ball's going in the air, Tyson's getting it. So it kind of makes more sense just to play Tyson if you think Levitt has a good game. Unless Levitt runs for 3 touchdowns. It's about the only way you get burned there. I'm probably going to delete Maddox Madsen. I don't like Boise going to Air Force in this matchup. It's not my favorite. If I was to play Boise, it's probably through the run game, but even then, I don't like the pricing. Maybe I take a shot or two on the pass catchers. What are we looking at? Caples at 5. Well, why don't I look at it on here? I'm sitting here looking at my projections, trying to parse this thing out. Let's look at this. I'm avoiding Air Force completely. I just, well, I say that, but I'm gonna have to look at the running backs. Maybe I might end up on a running back there. You can always play an Air Force running back just on pure volume alone. Caples, Louder, meh. Maybe Marshall. Maybe Marshall at 51 or 41. I could maybe get there. I could talk myself into that. I could definitely talk myself into that. Ben Ford, no, I'm not playing that. Yeah. I think Marshall you could talk me into. I don't think you could talk me into Caples or Louder. Well, maybe Louder. I like Matt Louder. Where are we at with these guys? Yeah, you can definitely talk me into an Air Force running back. I do like I am a Dylan Carson guy. I do like him. Owen Allen usually gets a good amount of carries. Yeah. I'll make a decision. I think one of these guys is going to need to be in your lineup on this late slate. There is a ton of very good high priced guys and not a lot of value based on what I saw. So, Air Force, you're going to play them through the run game. And at 3.6, well worth it. No doubt about it. So, I like that actually. Back in the quarterback pool. I'm gonna be on. So, like the range I want to live in, I don't like Caton Hauser whatsoever. I don't think I think BYU is in deep doo doo playing at. I mean, I realistically, if you were saying, "Hey, we're gonna take some money line sprinkles, money line bets," sorry, cover 3. I just stole your shtick by saying sprinkles. Apologies. Um, Caton Hauser, East Carolina being at home, you got to think playing BYU. I think that's in play, but I wouldn't go there. That's just not a play that I'm interested in. I'm much more interested in Mendoza here at he's got rushing upside. So at 7.6, I'm interested for sure. I'm out on Sellers, no chance. I'm not playing him. I understand the price looks good, but I'm not playing him. I'd much rather play Pribula. I really do think there is legitimate shot. Missouri absolutely blows the doors off of South Carolina. Missouri's legit. We're going to learn a lot about Missouri this week, but ULL typically a pretty decent G5 team, and they absolutely destroyed them. That score was less indicative of the actual game. And we were high on Pribula that week, and he dominated. So I think we get some decent rushing production, and he throws the ball well. I do like taking shots on Pribula. Pribula is probably my favorite quarterback on this late slate. So 7,400, he's going to be in quite a few teams. And if I end up tilt entering, which I did a couple like last week, if I'm tilting my face off after the early games, then I'll start slapping teams in. Next thing you know, I'll have Bo Pribula on way too much money. That's also why I'm out on Madsen. I'd much rather go to Pribula or Mendoza than Madsen in this situation. Plus, that game's going to be played slow. That feels like an under 51.5 in that game. At Air Force, Air Force wants to run the ball, grind the clock out, keep the spread close. That's an under game. Don't like that. If it was in Boise, I think you can get there, but not on the road. Bear Bachmeyer, man, he has not looked great in my opinion, but I think he's in play. He's definitely got to be in play. He's running the ball too much not to be, but I mean, it's got to be so efficient. And he did not look good against Stanford, and Stanford's poo. I'm probably out on that. I'd much rather go to Lagway's just kind of sitting there. No chance. Not sniffing it. I'm going to let other people make that mistake. Altmaier, I got no problems with Altmaier. We haven't seen him run the ball effectively yet this year. His floor is going to be very good. He's going to throw a couple touchdown passes, no doubt about it. He's got a great stack partner. We'll get to him in a minute. I like the Altmaier play. I have no issues. My base team would probably be Pribula Altmaier. I think Illinois wins this game. And I think they have a matchup advantage in the slot with the guys that they have. I do worry about the outside weapons. I know Bowick's banged up a little bit. I do like Mendoza's legs, but Altmaier I've seen run well. He just hasn't had to yet this year. So I like the savings on Altmaier given the high-end running backs we have. So, yeah. I think your top three are Mendoza, Pribula, Altmaier. Now, do not play Mendoza, Altmaier together. That game does not have the makings of it over there. But I think Pribula with each. But I think my main team will be Pribula, Altmaier. Here, let's just build it because I'm going to need to build this later anyway. So I might as well do it now. Just while I'm thinking through it. This is subject to change. This slate's way later. I got a few hours to marinate on this. Running back wise, love Bryson Washington. Think he's a very good play against Arizona State. Arizona State doesn't scare me. Jonah Coleman's my favorite play at running back, so I'll plug him in. I just don't see how I don't get there. Kyson Brown's going to be back, so I'm out on Raleek Brown. Raleek Brown's going to project well. I think he gets some ownership because of how well he's been playing, facing off with Baylor. But I definitely, with Kyson Brown back, that would make me nervous because he was the top guy heading into that Mississippi State game. I think that's a three-headed backfield now. I'm probably on full avoid of that backfield completely right for this week. LJ Martin, no thank you. Not necessarily interested. Not at 7K. I'd prefer Hardy. Much prefer Hardy at 6'8" to Martin. But Washington, Hardy, both in play. Sire Gaines, probably not. I maybe. I much prefer him to Malik Sherrod, that's for sure. But I don't necessarily know there. Mark Fletcher, I don't love that matchup. Florida's pretty stout on against the run, but Miami does have a good defensive line or offensive line, like one of the best offensive lines in the country. So this could be hard not to have minimal interest there. Fagan, no. He just doesn't have the explosiveness I'm going to be looking for in this spot. Hemby, I liked Hemby on FanDuel. I ended up mixing him in a good bit. I think he has the pass catching and rushing upside and a very big talent disparity between him and Kalon Black. I think that now with Lee Beebe out, he's in play because it's probably a 60-40 split, if I was to say. So I do have minimal interest there. South Carolina running backs I'm out on. Jaden Baugh, I would put in the pool. 4,500, I think, is a very fair price tag. He's going to catch the ball, run it well. He's the clear top option in that backfield. Is Aiden Lawfrey back? That's going to hurt Khalil Valentine. Yep, he's available. So that's going to hurt some stuff, but that one's interesting. That's good for that offense. So let's just do that. That would be my favorite two so far. And then throwing in the cheap, throwing in a cheap like Air Force running back would be something I would like. Where's he? Who's been doing decent for East Carolina at running back? Anybody? God, they're bad. BYU's decent against the run. Yeah, London Montgomery would be my favorite. Penn State transfer. Parker Jenkins, not good. I mean, right now, he's just not good compared to London Montgomery. Thank you. They're finally phasing out Marlon Gunn because he sucks. No offense to anybody from Marlon Gunn's family. If you're watching, I know you are big fans. All right. So looking at this, Tyson always in play. Boston always in play. I think both of them are fabulous plays. Surratt, I think, ends up being a guy who catches a ton of balls in this spot. I believe Illinois is going to end up playing a shell defense to keep everything in front of them and make Mendoza make consistent throws all the way down the field to push the ball down the field. And Mendoza hasn't shown that he's capable of that. He tends to make too many mistakes. So I think you see Surratt be a guy that can do that and just soak up targets over the middle of the field. That's why Omar Cooper's way too priced up everywhere. He's living off of one game last week. Now, he was getting some deep shots in these other games, and he's a clear explosive weapon. Good morning, JB. If you got any questions, need to know anything on the early stuff, I'm just looking at late slate right now. I've managed to build most everything last night, late into the night. So I was mass entering Fanduel lineups. I have way too many teams. Put it that way. I have way too many teams. I have way too much exposure to Eric McAllister and Adam Randall. That's for sure on Fanduel. And Jordan Tyson and Cooper Barkate. You're pretty much going to know if I had a good day or not just based off of what wide receivers and running backs do what. TJ Harden being one of them. Let's see. Any injury updates? Nope. Nothing new. Waiting on my information to come in. That's how it goes. Who does everybody like in Nebraska, Michigan? I'm curious because that's a game I'm in on, or I'm interested to see. I think it's gonna be a heck of a game. Both teams pretty good. In Nebraska makes a difference, I'm sure. That's a fun game. Like I said, there's great games every window today, just like last week. But I mean, the question is can this week live up to last week? How do I feel about Trinidad Chambliss? I think you can play him. I have a shot or two that I've taken. I have no concerns that that wasn't playing. Obviously, it came out that Simmons is not going to play and Chambliss is going to start. Don't know anybody who saw that coming early in the week when Lane said that Simmons was going to start. I wouldn't know who do that. Like, come on, Lane. I have a good amount though. I mean, I have some Chambliss. His rushing upside looked pretty good. I think Tulane is going to really try to slow that game down. Oh, JB putting belt to butt on Michigan. Okay. I mean, it's one of those situations where I think Nebraska, this is I would say it's probably an era-defining game for the Rule era. I think Rule is a fabulous coach. But if he wins this game, it propels this program up another level. And they are now in the conversation to be able to move forward as a program into a different stratosphere. Whereas if they lose again, they're still searching for that staple win that kind of allowed them to turn the corner. This is the year that rule teams typically play well. I just have questions as to I want to see how Raiola looks in this matchup. This is very, very key. But the Holgerson hire was great, but losing their defensive coordinator in the offseason, really a big blow for that team. So, like we said, top of the range here. Love Tyson, love Boston, love Surratt. No on Tony, no on Cooper. That's just too much compared to the target share that these top three are going to get to even get close to these other guys. Anthony Smith, same way. No way I'm paying that. Cameron, I'd be in on. I love Cameron. If you're playing Robertson, you got to play Cameron. I don't disagree, Ian. I'm Raiola. I need to see it more. I think he's not as much. He hasn't been pushed by the media in a similar way that Lagway and Nico and Avery Johnson and these other guys were. And so he hasn't kind of gotten the same scrutiny, we'll say. But he also hadn't played great either. And he has no mobility. He has zero mobility. I mean, luckily he's allegedly lost a little bit of weight, but he was, downright fat last year. Kind of Connor Wegman body. Now he had dad bods in there in the middle of being basically a pro athlete at this point. I will say Underwood did look good last week and he ran the ball well. I need to see. I still worry about Michigan's wide receivers in this game, though. Yeah, if Nebraska can't run the ball, I don't know how they move it. Yeah. Well, I do think they can. So I really do think Emmett Johnson ends up catching a lot of dump offs anytime. That's one thing that we saw it in the Cincinnati game. Emmett Johnson had like 7 catches in that one. And it was all Raiola under pressure, dump it off. Raiola under pressure, dump it off. And oh no. Tyler from Spartanburg lives in infamy. That's funny. But yeah, I think Dane Key, this is the best set of wide receivers that Nebraska's had since Rule's been there. No doubt about it. Dane Key been playing pretty well. Barney's going to be able to catch those short area. They have threats at all 3 levels of the field. And this is definitely the weakest secondary that Michigan's had in the last, maybe 8 years. I mean, it's been a while since they've had this weak of a secondary. Not that it's bad, just that it's not to the level that it has been for the past 8-10 years. It's still a good very good secondary. It's just different. Pribula with Coleman. I like this. Coleman's definitely your PPR. I like him a lot better here. Very good option. Cameron Coleman, very good options. Yannick Smith, nah, that's too much for him. Never, ever play I don't care that he's got 26 points. I hope it sucks up ownership. Wait, he's running the football. Okay. Yeah, he's a slingback. That's interesting. Triple option offense. Yeah, if I was betting anything, I'd bet Nebraska, but I don't trust them. I mean, maybe if I'll go check right before and maybe Fanduel has a boost or something and I'll play something. Trig, I'm not playing a tight end at 57. I don't like CJ Daniels, so he's immediately out the pool. I was kind of hoping he'd be cheaper. If he was cheaper, I'd have a lot of interest because he's such a big play threat. But for the price difference of 54 to 61, I'll play Coleman all day long by comparison. So No, thank you. Similarly, I'll play Vernell Brown over Eugene Wilson all day, every day as well. And I like Vernell Brown in this game. And I came into the year as a very big Eugene Wilson fan, but I would prefer to play Vernell Brown. I think he gets peppered with targets. He's a better threat to all parts of the field. Meredith, no. I'm avoiding Washington State at all costs. Chase Roberts, I never love playing these BYU guys on the outside. They're just too questionable, especially with Bachmeyer not being a good quarterback. I'd be much more comfortable if Retzloff was there. Hank Beatty is a guy that's getting locked in. This is the biggest matchup advantage that Illinois has in this game, and it's in the slot with Beatty. We saw Duke. They took advantage of Duke with this matchup. D'Angelo Pons stays on the outside. He's going to lock up one wide receiver. I know that Bowick is questionable. I like Beatty a ton. I think he ends up with a similar line of something like, I mean, he's going to be in like the 10, 15-ish points game no matter what. But he could really go off in this one. And he's great price tag. So you got to play him. Very good price there. Caples, more no. Nick Harbor, I'm out on. Ashton Hawkins, man, he's got to be in the pool, right? But this is the thing with these Baylor guys. You got to hope you get it right because it changes week to week. You know, week 1, it was Trigg, Hawkins, and Cole Wilson who had decent games. Cole Wilson's gone extinct since then. Then week 2, it was all Hawkins and Cameron. And then week 3, I don't even know who it was because they were playing nobody and we didn't get to see. I think EJ Williams is a sneaky guy in this game. He really took a lot of the target share in this Old Dominion game. He would be the second guy I would play. I wouldn't play Omar Cooper. I'd rather play Surratt, then Williams, then Omar Cooper. But I would just X Omar Cooper out of your pool. Jonathan Brady has a good connection with Fernando Mendoza after last year, but I think this is kind of what you're going to see. He's not going to play very much by comparison to the other 3. I'll be interested to see who the second guy who is the second starting option this outside of Denzel Boston. Like, who starts getting targets? Is it Omari Evans? Rashid Williams, I hoped would be a thing, but he's not been. I'm a little upset at that one because Rashid Williams is $3K. I'm probably going to end up taking shots because I'm out of my mind with that, and I'm stubborn to an extent. But like, look, Cole Wilson had a great game, and then he kind of just disappeared. So that's what I'm saying with the Baylor guys. Like, I know for a fact Josh Cameron is going to be. I know for a fact he's going to be on the field. And I know for a fact he's going to get targets. It's just, do you get SMU Josh Cameron, which I think you're more likely to, or do you get Auburn Josh Cameron? This is the world you live in with Josh Cameron, though. You got to know that you might get 7 and you might get 38, but that's kind of what he does. If you want the safe option, you plug in Kevin Coleman. He's much more likely to get you 15, but does he have slate breaking upside? Maybe not. Chris Marshall, like him, he's probably the best outside weapon Boise has. I don't hate this play at all. So that's fun. So I will tell you something, JB. I don't know which service you're using. I don't have I decided a long time ago. Actually, I never had paid for any services until I paid for NASCAR this year, which is kind of fun. And I'd never run Sims until then. But it's kind of helped me understand my own game. So everything I do is hand built. But I was already running off of percentage owned and what I'm trying to get to. I just don't have the data handed to me. So everything's all proprietary on my own end. But I ended up on that too because I think now I'm guessing that's probably on FanDuel because usually that's what you and I are discussing. Angeli, I don't love playing Klubnik in that spot because I think that that salary is better used for another quarterback at the top. I do, however, love playing Angeli with Randall Wesco as like this weird combination of I think this game gets like Clemson. These are the Clemson guys that I'm most confident score all the points, and then playing Angeli on the back end, um, and getting to like and not pairing him up because I think he can spread it around to Justice Ross Simmons, Jonte Cook, Daryl Gill, Dan Villari. Yassine Willis is back this week. Will Nixon could catch touchdowns. So you have all those things going for you and all those weapons that Angeli can use. So, for instance, I have multiple teams with Wesco, Randall, and Angeli on FanDuel because Angeli's 6,800, and I have a lot of Angeli there, like on a good amount by comparison, because I liked him as much as Mensa, saving the 2K. Because I feel like his upside is very similar to Mensa. Mensa's got a better floor ceiling combination, but the ceiling for Angeli is very similar to the ceiling for Mensa at 2K less. And if I liked Mensa, I needed to be in on Angeli. So I actually ended up with more Angeli teams than I expected. So it depends. I have no problem pairing Mateer or leaving Mateer by himself whatsoever. I have no problem with that. I have no problem having him naked. But I don't mind taking shots. So on FanDuel, I really have no issue with there's three guys that I'm willing to play Mateer with. I'm willing to play him with Burks because I think Burks is his top weapon, his top option, and he's the most likely one. And I do have a good bit of that. On DK, I really like the idea of pairing him with Kanak because he's 3,400, because he works the middle of the field, and he's a very safe target. I have no issues going to Kanak there. And I also have shots on Sategna. I have no problem getting there on Sategna. So at 3.6, don't mind him as a big play option for them. And I also don't mind him on FanDuel. I have a little bit of him on FanDuel at 6.2, and I have a little Kanak at 5.9. But because of McAllister at 56, I'm more apt just to go get Burks and try to get that 20-point upside out of Burks there. But yeah, I have no problems pairing Mateer. I have no problems paying Mateer naked because he is the rush offense for that team. So I've got a fair amount of Mateer, and I would say of the 100%, let's just say 100% Mateer of those lineups. I would say it's probably 20% have Burks, 15 have Kanak, and 5 have Sategna. That's what I would say. I would say that's probably what that's 35, 40% of the teams for Mateer are stacked, and then they're not, and the rest aren't. So I like Brendan Lewis. I don't mind Brendan Lewis. He's a runner, good runner. I would say if you wanted to get a good idea on his projection, I would look at it as take Trinidad Chambliss from last week and 60% of that, I would say. He's mobile enough. If you're pairing him, so here we'll go back to what I'm waiting on information for. Let's share this. So this team here, I'm waiting on the Greg DeRozier's injury news to pop for me. If he's in, I'm playing. If he's in, I am playing Cortez Bram, the Memphis wide receiver, and Jeremiah Love. So Bram's going to be the number one target. He hasn't exactly operated as that, but Memphis hasn't been in a tight game either. I don't. You can play Lewis by himself because of his rushing capability, but I do like the idea of playing Bram. I have no issues playing him. Him and Lewis played together at Nevada last year. He's a big play target. He was the top option for Lewis last year. They're very comfortable with one another. I would expect that he plays pretty good this week. Anything, he's probably going to be in this 10 to 20 point range if I was to guess, and I'd be more than happy with that. I mean, 4 for 69 even at 10, for 10.9, you got to be happy with at that point. But he can find the end zone somewhere in this Chattanooga game or have that total with touchdown. He could get to 100 yards realistically, similar to what Harrison Wallace did last week. But I don't hate taking shots on Brennan Lewis. It's just one of those things that if I'm taking shots on Brennan Lewis, he's more expensive than you would think. Yeah, it's 7-7. So if I'm taking shots on Lewis, he has rushing capability. I would pair him with Bram, but I'm almost thinking that if you did that, and I do have this, if you do that, I would game stack that game and get Taylor Green at minimum as a bring back, or go Green and Omega Blake, or Green and maybe Jaylen Brown. I'm not huge on that one, on the Brown thing. I definitely prefer, like, I'm not huge on going here. I just don't think the target volume's enough for him to pay out. But I have no issues if you wanted to say, hey, we're going double. We're going Omega Blake, Taylor Green, Brennan Lewis, and Cortez Bram. I have no issues with that. If you want to say, hey, that game shoots out. And then depending on the DeRozier's news, you could even go Sutton Smith in that spot. But we're just kind of waiting on this one. So I still don't think – I'm still going to have some lower tier entries with Sutton Smith, even if DeRozier's plays, because I don't know that it really matters all that much in that sense, just because you're going to get the volume either way, which Kanak versus Knots is also a decision point for me in this thing. So let's go back to what are we doing on this night slate? Where do we got? So I think Bowick plays. I do like Bowick, man. He's going to get matched up with Pawns, in my opinion. He's big wide receiver, but Pawns not very tall, but he's feisty. So I would not want to get to that. Don't think I'm going to be there. Man, these are some ugly wide receivers down here. There's no like super, well, there is one super glaring value. I don't love that. Tony Freeman. Ugh. Maybe Josh Manning. I could see that. Norfleet's actually not a bad option down here. He just, is the target volume going to be there is the question. The end zone capability, is interesting. So there's a couple guys at the very bottom. Don't know that you're going to need to get there. I probably prefer the Air Force guys. So chief among them, Kobe Prentice. This one's interesting because he gets targets every week because he kind of comes in, but his route volume sucks. So like he's been catching touchdowns, but man, is this a real nervy play, That's a nervy play. You got to have some stones to go here because he could goose you. very easily. He could goose you. He projects really well. I think he ends up being one of the higher owned guys on the slate for people trying to get those big boys in. Because if you do go there, it does really open you up. Now you got 8K. So at 8K, 8K basically lets you get um, 8K does put you in a somewhat weird spot because you could go like Jordan Tyson at 78. Then you have 82, which is 300, not enough to get Bryson Washington. That's tough. That's a pain. But yeah, I mean, there's options there. I think that one's interesting. I still can't. I'm gonna do it. I know I'm gonna end up doing it because I don't know how not to. I'm gonna end up on. Oh no, is Williams out? That's gonna help me out. Oh, he underwent surgery. Good. Well, bad for him, but good for me. Okay. Well, good. I can't waste money on Rashid Williams, so that's nice because I do have a tendency to do that. All right, maybe we go Desmond Roebuck. He kind of came in as the extra snap guy now that Rashid Williams out. That's interesting. I mean, that's one of those things. It's tough to be able to predict that. Like maybe you go Roebuck, but I would rather find a way to get into those Air Force running backs much more. Just because Jonah Coleman just destroys touchdowns, just absolutely eats them. Air Force. I want the Air Force backs. So let's just say it's going to be one of these two more than likely. Cade Frew got a little hype in the offseason, but I don't think he's going to end up getting enough touches. It would be Owen Allen or Dylan Carson. Let's just go with Carson for the heck of it. So then that's going to leave you 7,700 at wide receiver. That's probably way too much. Yeah, because, oh, that's nice. So you could just double down right here. 1, 2, boom, boom. Or you could double down with Surratt, and then that gives you the option, though, to get off of or you could come off of Surratt. You could go Coleman. Where's Kevin Coleman? What if we did that? Now I have 1,500. So that would get me. Oh, okay. Well, we don't even need that value then. So that's easy. You could easily go up from Altmaier to like a Caton Hauser who's just going to chuck the ball all over the yard, but I'd rather have this. You can go from Pribula to Levitt if you wanted to. I prefer Pribula. You can go from Baugh to like a 6K player, but I'm not really that interested. But let's get off of Carson. This made this decision easy. I'll take Roman Hemby. I think Vernell Brown is in play, but I'll take Hemby in this spot. So we'll take Roman Hemby as our bring back for the BD Altmaier combo. I like this. This is definitely something I'm going to end up playing. No doubt about it. Yeah, I'm going to end up here. Like, this is just too good there. Not to be here. So that's easy. We'll update that. And then let's look at the late night. I always like looking at the late night. Look at the late night slate. Late night is fun tonight. It's going to be a late night too, because Fresno State, Hawaii on that super late night. I don't know what it's going to be on. I'm guessing it's on. Well, if not, you can get the Mountain West Conference app. Thank you, Jay Whitty. If you got any questions about anything, let me know, man. I'm happy to help. It's just kind of whatever thoughts are in the head there. It just comes out. This late night slate is entertaining. So usually these late night games are, You just go, okay, I need to jam in my favorite plays. That's kind of what I'm starting to learn. So, like last night with that Iowa Rutgers game ended up being a lot better than I thought it would be. Gronowski cannot throw. Iowa still doesn't know what the forward pass is. Uh, is that more of an indictment on Gronowski, or is that more of an indictment on the wide receivers? I'd say the wide receivers than Gronowski. Oh, we did. We did, buddy. Rob, you nailed that Blaylock thing last week. I liked it. We felt good there. I'm glad I went in there. I don't have a problem going there as a pivot. And it was a great pivot last week, specifically where we were. The only other option in that 4.6 range is where I think people are going to end up going, which is Demon June from UNC. I think people split ownership to some extent with Blaylock, but I do not hate the Blaylock play as a pivot off of the Mateer. I think Mateer is more chalk. I think the chalky combo is Mateer Green at quarterback, and then Hoover as like the third most popular option. Now I'm getting a little bit different quarterback because I'm willing to differentiate with Dampier, Chambliss, Mensa, and Bailey as kind of my differentiators, getting into those guys, because I think Mensa is a good pivot off of the same upside that Hoover has. They're very similar to me. Ooh, Jay Whitty, it depends. So I like to try to keep my FanDuel entries to 20 because I'm hand building everything. I like that. No, Rob, I like that as a differentiator because I don't think people are going Chambliss. I think people are going to pay for Mateer for 500 more, and the projection's not different enough to justify the difference in ownership, I would bet. So I would expect that. And then I think Dampier's going to be, Dampier could legitimately be the lowest owned of the trio. So I have some shots on Dampier because I like it. But yeah, I usually try to keep it to 20, Jay Whitty. But what I'll do is I build out, my typical way to build it out is I take, and what you guys see is I narrow my pool down, and then I go, okay, what quarterback combinations do I want to have? And I'll pair some quarterback combos up and like make a list basically. And then I'll make teams off of that. I love Hoover doubles, JB. You're getting those on FanDuel. You're getting, I lock buttoned McAllister, so I understand. And I have some Dwyers. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because, yeah, you're right, Rob. There's way too much. Yeah, he's got, yeah, Hunter Andrews, man. I'm telling you guys, like, I think we could have some fun there. I think I do have some Ryan Davis stacks with Dampier, but I think Dampier's a really good pivot. I think he gets 80 yards rushing. If he clears 100 yards rushing, he could beat some of these other guys. And that's just depending on what you want to do with buying into this Texas Tech defense. We don't know yet. They spent a lot of money on it, but I like taking those shots. But yeah, going back, Jay Whitty, I'm sorry, I'm on tangents and getting excited now. So today, I have about 50 on FanDuel because I ended up building these teams, and I get these little I'll get a quarterback pairing and I'm like, oh, I can do this combo. And then I pull down another combo that I'm like, well, I could do this. And if I like all of them, I just start entering all of them and letting them eat. But if I really want to narrow it down or get my play tighter, I'll play less. So I think I have 20-ish on DK and probably 50 on FanDuel today because I just started firing shots out there. But some of the I've got some weird stuff in some of the more GPP, like very mass multi, like MME stuff. I've got like Hoover doubles with Jennings, Harden, and Brinson. I've got a lot of game stacks and that type of stuff. And yeah, I love, Rob, you're reading my mind, buddy. I love that Duke North Carolina State game. I have a game stack of that game that I love, and it's let me see if I can find that entry. I'll see if I can find it because I love that team as a something real fun here. Uh, where is that? Because I have one that's oh okay, here it is. Yep. I'll show you all this. So let's look at this team. So I love this. You get Bailey Mensa, Smothers, Barkate, Quayshawn Brown, and then you still can get Adam Randall, TJ Harden, and Shalik Knots there. Like that's a full game stack on that NC State Duke game saying, hey, we're going to get 60. We're going to get 60 in this thing. Like, I think the over in that game, I think that game's played in the 30s, mid 30s, like 35, 31. That's where that feels like that's going. Now, it might be one of those games where you bet the over now, and then you get midway through the game and you get to halftime, and that thing's 24-21, and then you bet the under after that because it goes it doesn't those two teams tend to shoot out early, and NC State does a really nice job of backing into it. Still waiting on my Greg DeRozier's news. Got to get my guys to help me out here. All right, late night. What are we going to do with the late night? News on the late night. I will say Ali Hado is back and healthy. So he's going to project well for me in this matchup. I do like Ali Hado here. Don't mind it. I will take shots there. Maeva's the clear best option. It's not close. Saka Polatele. I'm actually surprised I got that close. He's playing really well. I think you can get there. I'm hedging both. I'm hedging both. Smothers, I worry about his red zone usage. I have some Smothers without Bailey and without Mensa. I have some Smothers with Mensa. I have some Bailey in lineups by himself. I'm a little bit all over the place right now with that one. Yeah. I'm a little all over the place there. I prefer there's so many good quarterback options, and I think the running back options are more limited. I just don't like how Smothers is so close to Jeremiah Love's price. And I don't like where his price is on FanDuel because I like your Hardens, your Lacey's, your Ahmad Hardy. Ahmad Hardy, he might be my flag plan on FanDuel that I think Ahmad Hardy is the guy that's going to end up winning you a GPP that nobody plays. I think it's legitimately possible he gets 25 carries for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns and outperforms Jeremiah Love, Bryson Washington, Hollywood Smothers, Keywan Lacey, TJ Harden on the slate. I think that is possible. He's the cheapest of the bell cows, other than Adam Randall. I'd say Adam Randall, Emmett Johnson are bell cows at 83 and 84. I just prefer the matchup for Randall to Emmett Johnson. I love Adam Randall today on FanDuel specifically and DK. I'm playing the heck out of him. Way too much, Adam Randall. If Adam Randall busts, my day is basically done. I'll say that. Scary as that sounds. Maeva is the top guy in the late night. I don't see how you get away with it, away from him. You can't go to Caden Salter because Martin Luther Staub started last week. I don't think I trust that. I Jay Whitty, I'm still learning Showdown. I'm trying to do it on NFL. I have won multiple Showdown tournaments, but I fully admit I suck at Showdown. So I would not listen to anything I have to say about Showdown. I am terrible at it for some strange reason. Like you can give me a 2-game slate like last night and I could play great. One game, for some reason, I am awful at figuring it out because I always try to jam in too much like weird stuff. And I pick the wrong game script or something. I don't know. I've just, for some reason, I have a terrible time at it. You would think so. You would think. But for some reason, it's funny because like the national title game and stuff, when I max entered, I play too much chalk. And that's the I think I end up too much like the year. So the Michigan national championship game with Donovan Edwards, I like lock button Donovan Edwards is him and Blake Corum as the two captains in that game. So I ended up winning that showdown slate because I just happened to play both of them and said that's the play. And I won the Florida State LSU year, the opening weekend showdown slate. But other than that, man, I'm like, yeah, I cashed in the Rice Charlotte game the other day, but it's just I don't know. I cash more than I think I do in those, but I'm just not. I don't play a lot of volume in Showdown because I kind of think I'm not very good at it, but maybe that's more of an NFL thing than a college thing. So I like Maeva. I like Alejado in this game. I don't love EJ Warner. I think, oh my gosh, that guy hit the freaking building in the field goal. Saga Patele, I think's in play. I think you can go there. I just would prefer to go Alejado. Aiden Childs is a no. EJ Warner, wait, and a no. I think it's really a 3-man race to get 2 in. Wayman Jordan's a no for me, just because I'd rather pay for that. I'd rather play Bryson Donaldson, to be honest. Donaldson's been frustrating for fantasy owners. He just kind of hasn't done it yet. Rayshawn Luke's a good player. He's kind of living on efficiency over volume. Lucky Sutton is all volume, but I don't think I could go there. Eli Sanders, maybe, but probably not. That's too much. I don't think I'd want to go there. Is there a guy I need to look into this? I think Kendrick Raphael is going to end up being a solid start here. Ooh, Greg DeRozers. Okay. Good update. Good update. Let's see. See if I have an update. Hey, how about that Rutgers pass offense, guys? Look at that. I mean, it's impressive. I liked the Greek rifle was slinging the rock last night. Yeah, my guys are slow. Yeah, I love the my favorite tournament's the Coffin Corner, the single entry $5 tournament. That's my favorite, and my favorite thing to play is that. It's by far my favorite contest. I love that tournament. I wish we had bigger single entry slates, like a $3, a $4, a $5, a $10. I know there's the 12, but they're not bigger enough, in my opinion. Yeah, I got some guys inquiring on that one. All right, I'll keep an eye out. I don't want to leave before I give you guys an answer on the DeRozers thing. So Raphael, he's getting enough work. I think they run away with this game. San Diego State does not present enough of a problem. I think Raphael needs to be in your team. And that's where this ends up being easy because you can easily just get, I think Ashlock 100% in play, Lemon 100%. You're probably going to want Lane. Sinakal is out. So do not expect Sinakal to play. I know he's questionable, listed as that. He's not playing. He is not playing. I'm telling you. Exactly, Jay. Like I need to play for something decent. Like I can't. I don't want to play single entry and for $100, like or $500. I need it to be. We need more of the NFL style. Like there's some really good NFL single entry stuff. I'm not saying that it needs to be that, but like half of that you would be think we could get to. I still got to put my truck series lineups in. As ridiculous as that sounds on a college football show, I do have NASCAR lineups to do as well. But I'll do those as we get there. I don't have a lot I have to do. Nick Marsh, very talented wide receiver, would expect him to be a good click in this game. If you're gonna go there, don't hate it. I'm probably a Wyoming. Wyoming's gonna have some clicks. I don't know who, but somebody. I actually like if I was playing a Colorado player, I'm tempted to go with Decalon Taylor at 3,800. I really want to spend at wide receiver on this slate. He's been catching balls. There's upside here. He's explosive. I don't mind making that click at all either. And that would allow me, because I don't want to lean into that Colorado pass offense. That's going to allow me plenty of money to do that, and that. Basically, that's what I want to do. Now that leaves me with 5,200. Oh, cool. I can get Jacob DeJesus. Like, I'm perfectly happy with that as well as a click because he's pretty much their short area target of Cal. I actually, hang on, is that the 3 highest projected teams on the slate? No. Yeah. It's Colorado, Cal, USC, Hawaii. Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's the thing, Jay Whitty. I play 5 entries in the 20 to play $100 towards it, and I just started doing that. So full transparency, I started this account on DK because we couldn't play it for a long time. I started this account with $25 on Fanduel and started it on DK and Fanduel. I had put $25 on each site and played and just built it and built to where now I have a comfortable enough bankroll that I'm fine playing the $100. But I wouldn't, if what I would say to anybody is as they build their bankroll, I would highly suggest play the $5 single entry. And instead of playing one entry in the $20, I would play 20 entries in the $1 and max the $1 over playing one entry in the $20 because the likelihood is you're not. I've made profit and I've finished in top. I think I finished 57th or whatever the first week I played the $20, and this year's the first year I played the $20. Yeah, be honest with you, I only played, but I started with that and I've cashed out some money, but I started with $50 total, and have never redeposited. But it was just, I was very patient. I started out playing the quarter and the 25 cent, or the 25 cent and the 50 cent tournament, with the $1 being like a big expense for me. So I was very, I've just always been that way though. That I take each entry like it's playing for $1,000 here. So I don't mind something like this. Throw DeJesus in there, that's fine. So like if you wanted to play something like that, no problems there. I do think from the Hawaii standpoint, you're gonna have to figure out their wide receivers. Jackson Harris is gonna play. I know the questionable tags there. He is playing. He is healthy. I have no issues if you want to double stack with Jackson Harris. Actually, let's just say this is where you wanted to go. I actually like that. I don't mind leaving money on the table. That gives me double stacks with Maeva and Alejado, 2 running backs on teams that I think end up winning their games and are probably the more explosive options. So yeah, I like that. In fairness, Jay Whitty, DraftKings puts more effort into their product than FanDuel does. As sad as that is to say, because I started on FanDuel, I didn't play DraftKings until shoot maybe 5 years ago, something like that. And when it became legal in Louisiana, um, I played on FanDuel before that, but I never played on DK until then. So it was probably yeah, it was probably pandemic-y time. So 5 years, I would say I've been on DK. Um, so not a bad return on investment in some of those instances. Let's see. What are we doing, guys? I got some of the. I might have to go the old school way and have me actually go look up. Yeah, I agree. You know what I hate? Well, here's what I'll say about FanDuel. I like the product there overall. What I will say is I hate their tournaments and I don't like their cash games at all. I think their cash games are doo doo. And their reward structure pushed me to DK. So I was playing enough volume. Like I play a lot of volume on there, and I was playing a lot of volume on there. It was my main site. And when I was building my DK money, I was getting more rewards points from DK than I was from FanDuel. So I was like, and I was playing a 10th, maybe a 20th of the volume on DK as I was on FanDuel. I agree with that. Um, I love both. I only play the FanDuel main slate because I like the all day nature of it, and I think that there's some advantage to be done there. But I will say I play all of them. I play all of the DK slates. I only play the FanDuel main. FanDuel is definitely softer competition. I agree with that. I think less people, especially industry people, put a lot less in there. Um, Latest information on DeRozier's is he's on the field stretching with the rest of the backs. That's not helpful. All right, let me see. Yeah, he's stretching. That's the only info I got. Come on, guys. It's a big thing for me. Man. Yeah, DeRozier's news. We're on DeRozier's watch right now because it's literally the entry that I have that I need to know about. Because we got to figure this thing out. I already have a Connect team, or else I'd have. I think Connect and Knots are similar plays. I think Knots is slightly more upside, but there's part of me that says Knots needs a touchdown. No, I haven't really changed. What here? We'll recap. I'm gonna recap all that. So, FanDuel core guys that I played, the core three, I'll say at quarterback: Taylor Green, John Mateer, Sam Levitt, and these are the guys that I played the most of. Running back wise, Jeremiah Love, Bryson Washington, Adam Randall, Ahmad Hardy are the core plays. Yeah, I would say that's the core. Love, Washington, Randall, Hardy. I actually ended up with a lot more Hardy than I expected. Core plays at wide receiver on FanDuel: Jordan Tyson, Elijah Cooper Barkate, Eric McAllister. I lock buttoned McAllister. Randall probably 80%. FanDuel wise, core plays: Taylor Green, John Mateer, Josh Hoover, and Darian Mensa. They're the core guys because I played more of them than anybody else. Core plays running back. I ended up on Adam Randall, lock button TJ Harden, and I would say Jeremiah Love as a core play. So it ended up being a lot of Love, Harden, Randall. That's kind of where I ended up jumping to. Core plays at wide receiver on DK: Harrison Wallace, Jordan Dwyer, Cooper Barkate, Romello Brinson, and then I would say the value guys I mixed in the most were Knotts, Hayes, Manjack, Kanak would be the values I mixed in the most. I moved Lacey out, but that's not for a lack of not liking him. I used him a good bit. I ended up just on more Adam Randall. Adam Randall started the week as I'm going to take shots maybe as a GPP option to I'm way overexposed right now because I think he's the only guy who gets a ton of play for them. Yeah, I moved into a lot of Adam Randall that would have been Keywan Lacey. That does not mean that I do not have a lot of Keywan Lacey. It's just I have more of those guys. So I would say, for instance, I might have one share of Mike Washington, one share of Jacoby Williams, one share of Emmett Johnson. So if we're talking like the actual pool, I probably have 20 to 30% of my entries have Keywan Lacey. It's just I probably have 70% Adam Randall. And so I have a lot of Love, Smothers, Randall, Harden, and I actually have more Demon June, probably. Devon June. I like calling him Demon. I probably have the same amount of Demon June and Keywan Lacey. I love that $1 max 20 max $1 20 max slate. I love that tournament. That is I have a ton of Barcade, and it does it scare me? No, not at all. But I do think that do I feel slightly exposed by it? Yes. I do have a lot though. I have a lot of Barcade. It's one of those things that that's my thought process, Rob. I've been on Barcade. It's also one of those things that I'm hard headed enough because well, yeah. That's one thing people always forget is when you say regression, it's regression to the mean. It's not positive or negative. It has a negative connotation to the word, but regression just means you're going towards the middle of the outcomes. I love McAllister, Jay Whitty. I locked him in. I have those 50 FanDuel entries. I have 50 entries with McAllister. He's in all 50 lineups. And I've kind of hedged I do have some teams on DK with McAllister and Dwyer on them, McAllister and Manjack. I have teams on DK with McAllister. He's just so expensive that I don't think you need him, even if he hits. But I mean, on FanDuel, he's lock buttoned. I did not take him out. It's what I did with TJ Harden on DK. I lock buttoned TJ Harden. Every team has him. So I think Washington, I played a little bit of him because if I'm going to be so heavily exposed to Taylor Green, there are avenues where Washington can hurt me. So I have a little bit of Washington. I don't love him because I think touch volumes are a little bit lower than I would like. I'm going there because I have so much Taylor Green, but it's as a hedge off of my exposure to that. I don't love him, but I think he's in play. I think there are avenues that he hurts me. It's very similar to whenever I'm always talking about if I'm playing Sawyer Robertson, I need to have exposure to Bryson Washington and vice versa. If I'm going to have heavy exposure to one, I need to have heavy exposure to the other because the other can hurt me dearly. So I think you do need to get there. if you're going heavily on Taylor Green, you need to have some exposure. Man, we just need some DeRozier's news. There we go. Something. Greg DeRozier's is dressed and participating in warmups. So that means we are going to go with the safer option in this lineup because I already do have some Sutton Smith exposure. So I'm going to go with this Jeremiah Love combo. Oh, Jay Whitty, why would you say that to me right now? Because I really want to play Kanak in this spot, and I really am debating Knots versus Kanak. That's a very sore spot for me. I don't know. Golly. I do have a team in the $20 with Kanak paired in there. And I'm tempted to go to that and to go to another one. So I have a Mensa Kanak, a Mensa Mateer Kanak Barcate double stack thingy with your, Smothers, Randall, Harden, Wallace, like your chalk. Because the way that I'm thinking it, okay, Jay Whitty, I agree. I agree. I love the Kanak play. Trust me. I just don't know if I want to go all that far with it. This is going to be one of those that comes down to the wire. Because I do like Shalik Knots in this game. But I also see a world where everybody gets on Shalik Knots because he scored 3 weeks in a row and then his numbers are actually worse than Kanak. I would say, who are your quarterbacks, person? Who are your quarterbacks? Because do you have Mensa or like raw points? I probably prefer Love because of the touchdown equity. Smothers has been getting pulled in the red zone, and Bailey is a threat to steal touchdowns. Where I don't think Mateer and Green. I go Love. I prefer Love. That's much a more chalky option, but I would prefer Love if as just a single entry there. Oh, I agree. There's no way DeRozier's gets a full share. I still have Sutton teams. I just was kind of more careful knowing that it could go wrong. But I think you should have some Sutton teams for sure. You should definitely have some ownership. But it's easy for me to say playing what between the two sites, 80 lineups. It's easy for me to say, hey, I'm going to get some Sutton ownership. If you're playing 20 max, I'd probably have 2 Sutton teams just taking shots. But if you're playing 10 lives or less, like 10 lives or less, I wouldn't even bother touching the situation. You had to bring up Kanak. I love Kanak. I'm there. I really want to be there. It's so hard to get away from this because he's doing this without touchdowns. And Knots is doing it with touchdowns. We know Auburn's going to be a tight game. He's probably going to get 5 to 7 targets. I like Hunter Andrews. I didn't get there as much as I thought I would. I did do some of that on FanDuel because I love the idea of his rushing upside on FanDuel. I think it's kind of fun to play that. I'm going to go. I want to. I really want to. I know. I know. I wish I had player props in Louisiana. That's the thing that's killing me. I need player props. because that's where I would make money. Hang on. What do we get? We're getting new info. Info is flying in right now, by the way. All right. Trades Green out for LSU. Doesn't matter. Texas, World of Hurt today. Most of their guys are out. I'm not touching Wisconsin's offense. If you were thinking about that, I don't know what to tell you. Michael Trigg in the late game, he's probable. So it sounds like he's probably going to be back. I will double stack Mensa and have double stacked Mensa. Personal favorite too, especially on Fanduel, is Quayshawn Brown and Cooper Barkate. They're my favorite two to stack with Mensa. Noah Whittington's questionable today. Not that he's on a slate, but yeah. I will double stack Mensa. I like Quayshawn and Barkate as my top two in that situation. Quayshawn's not going to get enough. I do have some Quayshawn instead of Barkate. He's more expensive and probably just a better option overall. I just don't see how. Man, all right. I'm doing it. Yeah. Get out of here, Knots. I'm playing Knack. You done it to me. I know the Vinny Anthony bounce back. I'm just out on it. Here's the thing. If Wisconsin doesn't win this game against Maryland, they're not winning a game the rest of the season, which is also what I said in their team preview. And then Fickle's dead man walking at that point. I'll double stack. I'll stack Mateer. Why not? Let's do this thing. All right, that's my last entry in the tournament. I'll play Kanak. I win. I need more Kanak in my life. I need less Knots, so we'll go with it. All right. That's what I got, boys. Good luck to everybody. Anybody got any final questions? I'll answer. No problems there. I gotta build truck series lineups, as sad as that sounds. I got about 30 minutes to do that. Oh, injury news popping. Here we go. Yassine Willis is warming up for Syracuse. I see him on the field, so he should be a go. No problem. Wish you all the best of luck today. If I don't win the thoughts on Kewan Lacey. So I like Kewan Lacey. I just love plays around him a little bit more. If you end up in that 7,800 range, 7,700 range on DK, I'm perfectly happy to play him. I have zero issues playing him. He's a comfortable click for me. He's probably behind. Harden's my top running back play on DK. Randall's probably number 2. And then I want to get one of Love, Smothers, Lacey as the third guy in my room. I don't hate going down to Demon June, as I like to call him, at 46. I have no issues getting to him. It's fine. I just would, like, on the Lacey front, I probably prefer to get to Love, then go down to Lacey, then Smothers of the group. It just kind of depends on that. On FanDuel, it's a tougher click for me. I'm out on Justice Haynes, but that's just a personal thing where I think Nebraska defense plays well. I've just decided not to go there. But that's just me making a player pool decision that I don't want to spread my ownership too much. I wanted to play a tight pool this week, and I made a tight pool. I understand going to Justice Haynes because of how much he's played and how well he's played. I just decided to stay away and bet on that. I think Nebraska is able to hold him down. And based on that Oklahoma game, if he didn't have that 75-yard touchdown run, he was dead in the water in that game. So I expect him to be in the 80-yard range, and it's really going to depend on if he can find pay dirt multiple times. I don't mind the Blaylock either. Yeah, I agree, Rob. I think you can imagine a situation where you go June Blaylock spend up from McAllister on DK. I think that's a really solid play. I'm not going to talk y'all out of that. I understand the plays definitely, and I don't think Keywan Lacey's a bad play on FanDuel either. I just prefer TJ Harden, Bryson Washington, Jeremiah Love. I prefer Lacey to Smothers. But I like Ahmad Hardy a ton, and I'm kind of planting my flag there. Double stacking Hoover, double stacking Mensah. I think either one of those guys. You want to double stack Hoover and Mensah, I'm all for it. I think that is some of my favorite plays today are double stacks of Hoover and Mensah. I think both are great. Both are great double stacks. I think you could double stack both in the same lineup, and get there, which I think I did. I'm pretty certain I have a team with a Hoover double of the two top end guys and a Mensah double with the two bottom end guys. But yeah, I love doubles today. Good luck to all you guys today. Thank you for hanging out. I really enjoy this. It's fun for me to be able to work through. Now I've got an extra Kanak share. So if Kanak scores, and that's the difference between Shalik Knots and Kanak is me winning. I tell you what, I will make a deal right now. If I win the 50K because of Kanak versus Shalik Knots, I'm giving that guy $1,000. I'll call it now. Let's see. Let me go back up. I'm gonna find it just so I hand to chest if it happens. All right, Jay Whitty. This is my hand up promise to you. If the reason I win 50K today in that tournament is Kanak scoring and not losing it for me, I will give you $1,000. That's hand up. Hand up. That's all me. We are all witness. That's what I'm saying, Jay Whitty. I'm telling you right now, I will star you. If that wins, I'll give you $1,000 right there. If Kanak is the reason I win that tournament, I'll give you $1,000. Hand up. It's on record. I am nothing if not a man of my word. I hate people who aren't. So that is my word. You should root for that team because you get it. Now you got to play Connect too, Rob. That's right. That's right. Hey, y'all help make the call on that. Jay Whitty gets the credit. He turned me there. So we'll tune in and find out. I do have some Quayshawn Brown, especially on FanDuel. I like him at that 5,700 price tag. I do like him as a double stack partner. He is a way if you wanted to get off of McAllister, he's a good pivot on FanDuel. I'm just choosing not to get off McAllister. But I think he's also a solid pivot on Barcate on DK to go up to Quayshawn Brown. Yeah, I like that. All right, boys. Got to make some truck series lineups. I keep saying that I got to do that, but I do. And at least then I get to run that stuff. I'm all good. I got all my college football stuff's built. I got some latent slate stuff that I'm going to build some doubles, some weird stuff. But other than that, pretty easy builds for me today. Good luck to everybody. And I will see you guys tomorrow night when we do the recap podcast talking about all that stuff. Tune in because that'll make Brian feel good and ask him questions because he's really talented when it comes to this broadcast stuff. So he has a really good background in it. And he's the reason why I even started all this with Florida State originally because he was working there. So appreciate him. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I really enjoy getting to talk to you guys and have these conversations. Wish you all the best of luck today, and hopefully one of us can take down the big one. Good luck.